So in question 8, we had a new tourist attraction and an area that was 30 metres by 40 metres for a car park. And we needed to find out the number of cars which could be parked in there. Now, these were the areas you got marks for. The final answer, it gave you a mark from anything between 20 to 120. But if you just put an answer in that region without any workings, you got no marks at all. You had to show your thinking for it. There is another way we can approach this, which we'll look at in a moment, but this was the way most people went for. So starting off with the size of a car or the size of a space. Now, an average car is bigger than lots of you thought. Average car is actually about 4.5 meters long and about 2 meters wide, or just a bit less. The regions you were allowed for the car or the space size, and you didn't have to specify which, was 2 to 4 meters wide, and you got a mark if you gave an estimate within that. And lengthwise 4 to 8 meters. Again, you got a mark if you got that, and you got a mark if you were out, but you did state your assumption for this. Doing it this way, you had to work out the total area, so 40 meters times 30 meters. And then you had to divide this by the space of your car or the size to find out the total number of cars that could fit in there. So if you're down towards the bottom end of this, which was 8, if you'd done 1200 divided by 8, you got 150. Or the top end of it, 4 by 8 is 32 meters squared. So 1200 divided by 32 gives you 37.5. But you then had to show some reduction in that for manoeuvring. So space for cars to drive in, to drive around, to drive out again. Different ways you could do that. You could do a plan for it and work out the space. You could say roughly or maybe a third, but you had to show somehow you were taking some space off manoeuvring and then ending up with your answer between 20 and 120. The other way you could have approached this middle bit was by thinking in this way. So you could start thinking about how many cars in one dimension. So maybe you'd go down the 40 meter side. And if you said that the cars or the space on average would be 4 meters wide, then maybe you'd think you get 10 cars across. And then you'd consider it in the other dimension. Some of you did this leaving space for cars to drive through, then like another row. But you could get these two middle marks here through that way as well. But again, at the start, you needed to show the car or the space size. You needed to take into account room for manoeuvring, and the answer had to be somewhere between 20 and 120 cars.